Oh, fuck. That was good. I think I don't know how baiting the Leo's flash kick is different. Like I think it's easier to safe jump than most DP. And yeah, the Guilty Gear community is pretty healthy on PC, honestly. PS4 is kind of whatever, especially when it comes to folks who I know a lot of Midwest players. Oh, I'm just gonna shoot up this one. A lot of Midwest players I see mostly on PC, and that's where a lot of good Guilty Gear is. So yeah, PC is good for net play. Plus you got like Discords and stuff there, so it's easier to coordinate. And you know, you actually don't really need that good a PC to run Gear. Oh. Woo! Alpha Blade. No! Oh. I mean, as someone for whom PC is my main platform for video games and general stuff, yeah, all I've been playing has been Overwatch and Guilty Gear, so that's oh, too much gamma. Oh. Nice. Woo! Shirosaki X Cross Soul, hey, love your channel and you're awesome. Oh, thanks. I hope this isn't a weird question, but what do you recommend to eat before a tournament? I actually really like that question because I think tournament day of prep is actually super important, and it's one of those things that you pretty much can only figure out by seeing what works for you specifically, right? Like I don't know that what I like to do would be what you like to do, but I usually like to eat a light breakfast and some coffee. I don't want to go to the tournament hungry. And I'm not one of those people who gets like super queasy or anything if I'm doing something intense while also like right after I ate. Oh, that was bad. So I'll usually eat like ideally something not too greasy, but honestly tournament food is kind of tricky because it's usually at like hotels or Vegas or, you know, like venues where it's hard to find something clean. But just like I really like coffee and a banana. I'll get like whatever Starbucks has a lot of times just because it's consistent. But really, you kind of want to figure out what makes you feel the most comfortable, right? Like some people are just so uncomfortable eating, and yeah, like EC Dojo says, like they get food coma, like that could affect their performance too. Oh, nice. I've tried coffee and not coffee, and there's like a sweet spot for me for caffeine where I feel awake and alert, but I do not get panicky. So I usually try, like, I would avoid something like Red Bull, personally. And there goes my shot at a Red Bull sponsorship. Yo, if I could get like a green tea sponsorship, that shit would be sick. If Oi Ocho would sponsor me, I'd love that. Oh. Oh. Yo, if LaCroix would sponsor me, I would already drink like multiple a day, so that'd be a very good product fit. I'll leave it at that. Woo. Yo, I love that shit. Oh. Woo. Hey. Oh God. Ooh, the swinging. So sorry, it scrolled past, but Real PT1 asks about essentially, if I got that right, it was about learning mix-ups and setups and recognizing them, and you learn them. Honestly, you learn them by playing against them. Like, you can, if you wanted to be very efficient with your timing, you could go through the mix-ups that you see top-level players doing in tournament footage and just recreate them to the best of your ability. But honestly, like, that's a lot of work and you don't know if you're getting it right? So you look in the character discords, you look in the guides, maybe you'll find it, but you're not sure. The purest and strongest way to learn how to deal with something in this game is to play against someone who does it to you. Which is one of the things that I really like about this. Like, this game rewards labbing, but more than that means, like, that's why I think stuff like the net play is so important, is in your local community to offer you matchup practice. You're going to run out pretty quickly. So yeah, you can test for shit in training mode. Like, you can use the recording dummy to test out stuff, right? You can watch a setup that you see that someone's hitting you with and copy it to the best of your ability and try and learn how to block it. But there's no substitute for learning how to do it against someone who's doing it to you. Because people might even take the same basic setup and do different things with it, right? Different timings, or go for different options afterwards. Ooh. Beta blade. Baited blade. That got a laugh out of Irene. Nice. So Trout Black asks a good question about trying to win a brand new game because you want to win early in Soul Calibur 6. I respect that. Like, if you wanna win the first tournament, like, look for the most oppressive shit that you can find in week 1, based on what you see people doing and what you found for yourself, and just do that and see if it works. Like, people, there are certain, oh, I should YRC that. There are certain people who have a sixth sense for finding broken shit. Like, Tragic, back in when he was, at least when he was in NorCal days, was super good at being like the day 1 champ for everything, because he just labbed, he knew what to look for in the lab, and he labbed super hard to find some shit and just murder people with it. So yeah, winning the first day and being solid, and just having like solid fundamentals and risk taking and stuff like that is kind of usually how people win early on. Woo! That's good. Oh, I really cannot use that sweep unless I already have like a big advantage. I can't use it in a scramble. Let's try more like that, for example. Ooh, I wonder if I can hit through that, because it looks like I should be able to. Nice. Yeah, actually, honestly, one of the good things to look for early on in the game is just big-ass buttons. Like, buttons that are hard to deal with. Good value buttons. Because that can do a lot to expose matchup ignorance early on. Unfortunately, they just kind of don't make buttons like they used to. Yeah, I'm wondering how fast the hits need to be to beat that 6P. Also, armor is just so weird in Guilty Gear. Oh, I fucked up. Alpha Blade. Nice. Ooh. Oh, that was bad. Why did I do that? Woo! Nice. Yeah, I knew that had to come out eventually. And again. Interesting. Ooh. Good comeback. No problem, Trout Black. It's a good question. Ooh, good. Oh. Nice. Oh, hi, Frankie. It's definitely a perk that I kind of didn't think of as, like, coming from a Street Fighter background, having a charged DP is mostly annoying. But in this, it's surprisingly good. Just because cross-ups and the way they fuck with DP inputs is such a big thing in offense in this game. Cool. And the overhead. Beta Blade. Ooh, good. Nice. Woo! It's the Milia announcer, but they both have the same kind of deadpan. Oh, come on. Oh, what? I hate that Blitz hits behind you for some reason. Oh. That was supposed to be crouch dust, which would have worked there. Yeah, Announcer May is real cute just for that. Okay, so Trout Black asked about training for specific ranges of moves. In general, there's a... I wouldn't say that I go into training mode with like every single normal and I'm like, okay, this is the exact range that it goes. It's more that you want to learn like which characters have options in specific ranges that you're in after specific situations. So like the common ranges to be in after they block the Rekka, for example. That's something which you should just know, like how fast roughly are their normals and your normals in that particular state. Now, I couldn't tell you like frames for most of them. I probably should. That would be good. What up, beautiful swan? But yeah, it's really getting to know for every character, like within the next 30 to 40 frames, maybe less than that sometimes. How fast can they be? Can they like close a distance? Ooh, and put a hitbox out? Ooh. Nice bait. Back to the mix-up question. I have a hard time mapping the options and measuring the factors that would let me make a better guess. Yeah, then you gotta do it, right? Like, if you don't understand the branches of a mix-up, it's because you don't know what that character can do, right? You don't know what their options are in that particular setup, or in that particular situation. So you gotta know. Right? You gotta know, and that requires, like, if you don't play the character yourself, that requires pretty careful observation. Now, the other thing is, there are ways to make, there are ways to make your blocking easier, right? Your defense easier. Your goal doesn't have to be to block everything correctly, by guessing right. Your goal can be, like, a lot of defending in this game is figuring out what order you can block stuff, you can block high-low, or some cases left-right, that you could just do it, and you know that it'll block, you know, like, both the high and low option, because what you're doing is, what you're doing is, well, you know that the high and low can come at different times. So you block low for the time where it's possible to get hit low in that setup, and you block high for the time it's possible to hit high. Woo! So in that case, like, that requires some study, but it also just like of what the character can do, but it's also just understanding exactly what you're getting into, right? This isn't literally RPS most of the time. There are different options take different amounts of time, and so you can use that to your advantage to get yourself out of situations that where you're guessing and you don't actually need to guess. Oh. Yeah, my wife picked out this bookshelf. It's pretty fucking sweet. Oh, that was bad. Nice. Gamma trade. Oh my god. All right, Marin. We'll break that apart real quick. That was a good. So since you're in chat, do me a favor and type out one thing you think you did well, and one thing that you need improvement on, or that you think you could work on in that sesh. Oh no, I gotta get a proper bow. Right off the top of my head, so if I remember correctly, last time we talked, one of the things I was suggesting you work on is essentially getting stickier and scarier in your offense, and you definitely did that. When I was blocking, I was more worried about getting hit. You also had a couple really good throws. You had some solid high-low mix-ups. Some left-right stuff there. I think you could probably add a little bit more of the left-right stuff, honestly, because I have a hard time dealing with it. And at the very least, that, like, not everyone might have such a hard time dealing with Leo's, like, cross-up into, you know, further mix-ups, counter-hits, whatever. But you could definitely use more of that, because I noticed most of the mix-ups were coming high-low. And if I managed to successfully defend a couple, you'd be pushed out enough, especially with FD, that I didn't have to worry about it. Yeah, so you're definitely stickier and more aggressive in your offense. And your anti-airs, I actually wouldn't say they were that much worse. Like, you still caught me out enough to make it scary. You just didn't get the full punish as often. So you would shut me down, but you wouldn't get as big a reward off that as you could. So that's just something you need to work on, right? That's something everyone needs to work on. One thing that I think you could work on, especially now that your offensive play and your pressure is getting better, you're going to be spending more time in neutral, especially in this matchup, but just in general. Like, you're going to find that your offense is good enough to blow up a lot of folks who just either aren't used to the matchup or don't defend well in general. Like, and Leo's really good at that. The thing that's going to kill you against good players is basically how good you are in neutral and how good they are in neutral, right? And I felt like, so you're definitely doing less unsafe fireballs, which is really good. You're not that familiar with air tech and options out of air tech, especially the like matchup specific stuff. I was air throwing you a lot when I put you in air tech situations. So learning like your safest routes to get back to the ground is one thing, and figuring out if they're mostly running away, or if they're playing a pretty respectful neutral game. Against Chip, you actually don't have to worry about this as much because he doesn't really have good ways of putting stuff out there on screen that don't commit him to something. But I think what you're going to want to do is basically pick out a couple moves in everyone's like distance game when you're playing neutral that you just want to you want to go in on somehow. Maybe you're pressing a button against it. Maybe you're instant air dashing into it. Maybe that's your cue to throw a fireball, right? Because it did feel like you were guessing a lot in neutral. Like you'd run up and press a button and hope it hits. And I was pressing buttons a lot too. So it worked against me, and you got a lot of super sweet counter hit conversions off of that. But I think against better players and players who honestly know this matchup better, you're going to find yourself swinging and missing a lot more than you did against me. So some of that is like pick out different moves that are basically your cue to go in. For me, I think Gamma Blade was probably the one that you should have been specifically looking for, because I got away with a lot of Gamma Blades. You started jumping them towards the end, but like if you can consistently make that a threat and scare me out of throwing Gamma Blades in neutral, then your job gets so much easier, right? Yeah, I think what you want to do is start figuring out kind of what the system is for your neutral, because it still feels a little bit like you are shooting from the hip, and you want to have kind of more discrete goals that you can focus on. This is something I'm working on too, so I would love to hear what that's like from a Leo perspective. Yeah, there's got to be, like, if you think of it the other way, like what I'm looking for a lot of times is either are you crouch blocking in neutral or are you throwing a fireball, and either of those options should elicit specific reactions from me, right? If you're fireballing, then I need to get in that ass immediately, right, and force you to either spend meter to make it safe or eat a counter hit, right? Leo players, I'm guessing, have the reverse situation where like everyone knows exactly what Leo wants to do, right? He's either going to throw a fireball or he's going to try and run up in your face. And so, and because your movement isn't really that good, like he's kind of slow, his jump is weird, his air dash is weird. Like having specific things that just immediately get you to turn the switch on and do something will make your life easier in neutral. So try and look for that, right? I realize it might be tricky because I feel like a lot of players, Leo players, when you watch their videos, they don't spend that much time in neutral. Because the nature of the character is that when he's winning anyway, you don't see him in neutral that much. But like, I'm willing to bet that, yeah, your set play can get more vicious, and you'll have to just learn defense, which is largely character specific, right? I don't know what your matchup experience is like, but you'll have to learn a lot of that. And that you just get with experience and playing, people who are good with their character. But I think the big thing that's probably going to separate you from better players at first, and where you're going to feel it the most, is like if players outclass you in the neutral, you're just going to feel like you don't get a chance to play the game you want to play. So yeah, come by, fuck me up worse next time, body me in neutral super hard, and then we'll figure out something else for you to work on.